comment on agenda items only? Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm Mark Edwards, I'm the chair of the planning commission, Bradley Township. Hey, there's something I can't state for, it's the Bradley Township waiver. And I believe that's a waiver of, I'm not sure what if it's 07, 06, or 05. Do you guys have any?
Well, we got two, I had some conversation with Mr. Lenore this meeting, and I do want that on the back burner, but what that is excerpts from the planning commission minutes. It's not an ordinance, there's no reason for it to come to us. I don't know why we have it, and unless the board wants to take some action, which I've never heard of, we have ordinances we set on for 30 days, but that's just your excerpts from a meeting.
Okay. What I'd like to say, just as being planning commissioner and having dealt with this, I'll use the word carefully, debacle, because the planning commission was completely bypassed in the entire process, which is fine. The board has that right. The problem is that they enacted this ordinance without the underlying zoning, which per the Zoning and Enabling Act is strictly the responsibility of the planning commission. So we started off with 05, where they put in their own zoning, which was only restricted it in R1 and away from schools and churches. So then they found out after and I'm not sure if they submitted it to you or an MCOG, but they have to go to the planning commission. They did. In May 23rd meeting, they tried to rush it past us. And Philip Moore insisted you couldn't have marijuana retail in Old Town or City. We kind of debated it. We couldn't decide, what to do. So we rejected it. We sent it on to the board. They rejected it 4-1. So no marijuana in C1 in Old Town. After that, a permit was illegally issued by the clerk's office to the old gun shop.
You talk about the Bradley Township clerk.
Correct. Sorry. Don't want to accuse any of you guys. The applicant, this was found out, the applicant was told to cease and desist. We had to give back a $5,000 permit that he had submitted to us. I talked to the applicant and asked, how did this happen? Why didn't this come to the planning commission? Because if it had gone to the planning commission, we would have said there is no existing zoning. You can't put it there until this is approved. The applicant told me that the clerk's office, and he mentioned Phil Lamore's name several times, said it was okay. And that under this ordinance 05, which I'm going to hand to you, the clerk has almost exclusive control over any issuing of permits and applications, which is very unique. So I explained to the applicant, well, what do you want us to do? He said, I've already put $100,000 into this. He said, I want you to approve it. And I said, we can't approve it. There was no zoning. And he said, in that case, I'm going to sue you for, I said, I've heard you're going to sue us for $100,000. He said, no, much, much more than that. So this is how we got into this mess. And then the board came back to us and now wanted us to approve something that they said that they would never approve, which is C1 in Old Town. So the question is, are we doing zoning to prevent a lawsuit? And our attorney, which I believe is your attorney too, said, don't worry about the lawsuit. Do the zoning properly. So because of that, we're in this mess. In 07, all of a sudden, now allows a permitted use in C1 in Old Town. And at the planning commission meeting, in a joint meeting, I kept asking, why are you changing this? And Phil Lamore said, pretty much because I said so. So we're in a pickle right now, and I would just ask you guys to do, there's a legal term we use I'm a financial advisor, be prudent about this. Don't rush this approval.
Well, there again, I'm going to reinstate that what they submitted was 2 excerpts from planning commission minutes, which we don't deal with. These are not ordinances. We don't do anything with them. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't know what we could approve or disapprove in it, because they're just minutes from a planning commission meeting.
Okay.
And that, it's kind of unique, because we don't get stuff like that, so.
So you don't have an ordinance to approve or disapprove, is what you're telling me?
Well, it's not an ordinance, it's just copies of a planning commission
Okay.
meeting. I don't know why we got them. I mean, if you, normally you put it in paper, and then we get an ordinance that's done by an attorney, that we either approve it or just set on it for 30 days. But in this case, what they submitted is not an ordinance, so
Okay.
I personally, I don't think we can do anything with it.
Okay, permission to approach the chair for that?
Absolutely.
I just got this the other day. We've never, the planning commission has never given the opportunity to look at the original ordinance.
Well, the bottom line is, I don't think we'll take any action on that unless some board members want to, but I can't see what action we could take.
Okay.
We don't have an ordinance, we can't disapprove of anything anyways, all we can do is sit on it for 30 days if we don't want to
It's
approve
not
it.
ordinance, it's
We
something.
have to have an ordinance to start with.
So just so I understand, in a lot of this, I was a trustee downstreet for 22 years. I was an elected township official and on the planning commission. So a lot of what we do is about procedures and process. People say, well, it should run like a business. No, it shouldn't. It's completely different. We have certain members of the board that think it should run as a business, and because I say so, it should, you should do it. I've run a business, I get it, but it's different. So all I'm saying is, when this is submitted, please wait the 30 days.
Well, like I told you before, they have not submitted an ordinance for us to look at, approve or disapprove for 30 days. We haven't received that yet.
Okay.
So that's what I'm trying to tell you, that all we got was excerpts from a planning commission meeting, which,
Well, I will,
Is that what you're looking for? Because it was in within minutes.
well, let me just say, when we present the ordinance, they're gonna ask that it be waived. And all I'm saying, when and if that occurs, hypothetical, it should occur, please wait the 30 days.
well, I'm gonna reinstate what I just said. I don't, we can't act on minutes from a planning commission meeting, period.
Okay.
Every time you've ever had an ordinance request to waive the 30 days, it's come from Brian Graham with the formal paperwork to ask you to waive the 30-day time wait.
And I've
So
done
we
a lot
haven't
of those.
received that
So this,
communication.
what
we
they
usually do.
submitted is
Okay.
not an ordinance, so I don't know why they submitted it.
Okay, and again, I've been doing this for a quarter century, so I understand the process. If you look at the document I handed you, it's their ordinance, the original 05. And could you do me a favor and look at the last page of that ordinance? This is an approved ordinance.
The certification page,
Yes. Who signed off on that?
well, it looks like I did when I was township supervisor.
Let me see, can I see if you have the right page?
Oh, wait a minute, that's county clerk signed off. And this was the ordinance you submitted in January 4th of 2023.
No.
Next to the last page, please.
Oh, no, this is circle it.
No, that's the minutes that you're looking at, Don, from January
Is
4th.
that what you want, the minutes?
No, he
No,
said he handed you
I
something.
handed you something else. It's stapled. That's it. That's it. Look at the last page. Okay, sorry. Page before that, stapled it together.
Okay.
Okay.
Like, I'm gonna reiterate what I said, we're not, there's no action they can be taken on that.
Correct, and I'm just trying to give you the context. Last page is who signed off on that ordinance. And could you read the names who signed off?
The ordinance certification was adopted on 27th of April 2022 by the township board. Motion by Phil Lamore, second by Brittany Brown. Yeas was Treasurer Warner, Trustee Braun, Clerk Lamore, Trustee White, Supervisor Warner.
Right, and who signed off on that? It was approved.
Okay. And Phil Lamore signed as clerk, and the supervisor signed as, Ken Warner signed as supervisor.
Okay. They have to submit that to the Tribune before it's official. Can you see down there the date they submitted it to the Tribune?
It says April 27th of, don't have, 2022.
Right, but at the line where they put in, they should have put in the date, it's blank.
Okay.
I've checked the Tribune, they never submitted it. This ordinance is not valid.
Okay.
And again, I'm just warning you guys, and I have no axe to grind with these guys, but when they don't do it right, they bring on lawsuits.
Okay.
That ordinance is not in effect. It was never published.
Okay.
So that's my comment.
Okay.
Yeah, we would think would be.
I think.
Well, ask me, it is your view.
No, but you're not.
No, you get, I had excerpts from, is what I see.
Okay.
No.
I don't even have Chad, Brown. I don't have a card on me. I don't worry. I'll find out. I got it.
Do you have one of yours and we can send you one? That's what I'm talking about. I appreciate it. And I don't want that to exclude yourself. Well, because it affects everything about property. That's what.
Well, and I mean, they had a.
Yeah, perfect, and then I'll send you. Yeah,
And I'll,
and then whatever you're allowed to do, you
I
can.
gotta comply with that.
I understand.
But I can't, because I mean, there's not a union representative.
Well, there's a member right there.
But there's a gentleman that negotiates on behalf of
Yes.
that's
So we'll
the,
contact that.
because it's his budget automatically, he has the total authority of this budget.
Right.
I understand a little bit about that. That's what it is.
Yeah. Thank you.
The last thing on our thing is a Briley Township waiver. We did a lot of discussion this morning with one of the planning members on, and like I said, I think everyone understood that what was presented to us for the board meeting was 2 excerpts from planning commission minutes, which is not an ordinance. When Mr. Lamore came in today, he gave me an ordinance. And this was the 2022-05 ordinance, and it looks official. The only question I have is, when the planning commission member was here, he said that this was never put in the paper. I said he checked.
Let me address that for you.
Okay.
According to law, we don't put this is nothing but a waiver. It's a waiver of time, 30 days. It has nothing to do with the newspaper. We have gone through all the steps in the newspaper to post special meetings, regular meetings, public hearings. We've gone through every single step to get to the point where you have this document in your hands. The only time you publish this is after the township vote, a board puts it into an amendment form and votes on it at a public meeting held by Briley Township. After it's approved, if it's approved, it goes into the newspaper. And it has 8 days of circulation in the newspaper before it can become law. So there is nothing that's posted in the newspaper about what we're doing here.
You've never approved this then?
Pardon?
You've never approved this?
We have approved it at the planning level, and that's what you were presented with.
I don't know.
They,
This has
they
to be,
being the planning commission, has already voted on it. It says right here on both documents.
understand
Gives
that.
the MCL the following.
But the board has not voted on this, right?
Board cannot vote on this, and I'll tell you why. It very simply has to go for a 30-day period to the Montmorency County Board. And that's why I'm here, for nothing more. Just to make sure you have it. It was presented to this board back on the, it was done on the 9th, so it was done on the 10th. It came to your attention for board packet presentation.
Well, then we've never, this is the first time I've seen this.
That may be, but that's not my fault. That's internal. This was actually brought
Excuse me,
in.
no, that you just handed these
That's
two
different.
sheets today.
No, that's different. This is what was brought in and given to you
And that
to
was
be in the
given,
board packets. That one
You can't-
and this one.
no, neither one of these were given to me at all.
I guarantee you they were. I should have asked for a receipt of them.
You should have, because they were never given.
Well, you may say that. I'm telling you that I was here. I've got proof that I was here.
This
back
is
in the
what was
township
given to
minute.
me.
That's exactly what that is. That one is this one.
It's completely different the way it's written up, but this is
It's
what was given.
exactly the same.
And they do have this one.
Yes, and they have the other one as well, because I gave it to you on the same day.
They were given both of them, but it was not in a format.
And that's the same format. I've got the format right here in my hand. It was presented to you. Nothing has changed on it.
Okay, let me.
I was asked to put this in a form,
Or
in
give it to them.
an ordinance, a zoning ordinance presentation form. I did that.
I've never run into this before. Normally it's in the paper. It's never, according
No.
to the planning commission member, it has to be in the paper first.
No, it does not.
I don't know.
Don,
I don't
I'm
know.
telling you, I am the
guess-
clerk of the township.
Well, I'm
I
just
am
telling
an
you.
elected
this is-
official. By law, under oath, I cannot tell you a lie, and I will not. Based on that, I'm telling you that this, she's got one, I don't know what happened to the
Don
other.
had, I
I got
handed it
the
to him
one.
this
Okay,
morning.
then you have the other.
I
They've
got
both
one,
been,
but
they've
you
both
just-
been presented to this board through the administrative assistant to the board, and it was done on the 10th day of January. That's when the one regarding the marijuana had gone through planning the night before.
I don't care about planning. Planning is only, that goes to the township board and they approve what the planning did.
That's correct.
I don't
Once
care
that-
what planning did.
Okay,
I
once
just-
that is done, it comes to the county commissioners, and that's why this document, right here,
Just got
says the
this-
following is being submitted to Montmorency County, that's you. That's what was submitted by the planning commission. You are to evaluate this should you choose to, or you can waive it. And here's what they say at Council of Governments, and you know that group. This is done by the same attorney, by the way, that the county has. We both use Brian Graham. So Brian's your attorney, he's also the township attorney. I am not gonna present something to you out of order
Okay,
or
we're gonna-
improperly.
We're gonna take a 15-minute break here. We're gonna call our attorney.
No, he sent it to us this, when you see me go out to get the phone call, he sent it to us this morning,
Who did?
Brian Graham.
Brian Graham.
Okay, what did he send to you? I haven't seen it.
No, you haven't, because he just.
Here, I'll read the letter that
Okay,
he, because he
fine.
just emailed me while we were sitting here, right at, was Mark
Okay.
Edwards was talking, so, to the Montgomery County Board, I have been asked to address the county's legal options concerning the review of township zoning ordinances and zoning ordinance amendments. This question has arisen in the context of a zoning ordinance amendment currently being processed in Bradley Township. As the county is aware, our firm serves as the township attorneys for Bradley Township. However, because the issue under discussion simply involves an explanation of Michigan law, I do not believe there is a conflict of interest. However, if the board desires to obtain the advice of another attorney, I am happy to assist in the transfer on this particular issue. Section 307 of the Michigan Zoning Enabling Act, MCL 125.3307, provides, 1. Following the hearing required in section 306, the Township Planning Commission public hearing, a township shall submit for review and recommendation the proposed zoning ordinance, including any zoning maps, to the zoning commission, planning commission, of the county in which the township is situated, if a county zoning commission has been appointed as provided under this act. 2. If there is not a county zoning commission or county planning commission, the proposed zoning ordinance shall be submitted to the coordinating zoning committee. The coordinating zoning committee shall be composed of either 3 or 5 members appointed by the legislative body of the county for the purpose of coordinating the zoning ordinances proposed for the adoption under this act with the zoning ordinances of a township, city, or village having a common boundary with the township. 3, the county will have waived its right for review and recommendation of an ordinance if the recommendation of the county zoning commission, planning commission, or coordinating zoning commission has not been received by the township within 30 days from the date the proposed ordinance is received by the county. 4, the legislative body of the county by resolution may waive its right to review township ordinances and amendments under this section, emphasis added. It is my understanding that the county does not have a county planning commission established under the requirements of the Michigan Planning Enabling Act, MCL 125.3801. As a result, the county has the following 2 legal options concerning the review of township zoning ordinances and zoning ordinance amendments. 1, the county must establish a coordinating zoning committee composed of either their 3 or 5 members appointed by the Board of Commissioners. The purpose of the county coordinating zoning committee would be to coordinate the zoning ordinances proposed for adoption and with the zoning ordinance of a township, city, or village having a common boundary with the township whose zoning ordinance or zoning ordinance amendment is under consideration. 2, the Board of Commissioners may waive its right to review the township zoning ordinances and zoning ordinance amendments. The statute says that this waiver must be by resolution. However, under Michigan law, a motion has the same legal effect as a resolution. Exercising either of the above options is a policy choice by the Board of Commissioners. If there's any additional questions concerning the matter, let them know. We just got that literally during the meeting, just so you know.
So it appears that we can accept it, and I guess, unless someone else reads this different than me.
That's what it says. I understand it.
Seems like we either have to form some sort of a committee and look into the whole zoning issue or waive our ability to do so. That's what it
Well, that's, you waive our ability, but normally we take them, sometimes we prove them, sometimes we don't. You know, it's just hit and miss on that, but I guess according to this,
Do we want to go through the process to review the township's ordinances and zoning and all that?
well, they're all independent. You may or may not want to do it. I mean, you don't have to always do this or always do that. That's up to us, my understanding.
Is there a benefit to having the county have a zoning committee?
Well, my understanding, if all 5 of us were absolutely, no, we don't like it, it doesn't matter. The township can still do what they want. That's not an issue. I mean, it's a weird law saying that we say no and they still do what they want to do, so.
Yeah, it's just a 30-day.
Or you cannot waive the 30 days and make them wait for the 30 days.
That's 2.
It says here, the county must establish a coordinating zoning committee composed of either 3 or 5 members appointed by the Board of Commission. So it doesn't sound like it's just a matter of us waiting 30 days. If we don't waive our right to review it, then we have to establish a zoning committee. That's what it says.
You actually have to establish that zoning committee and then go through the process. And that's gonna take more than the 30 days from the time of presentation.
I don't know how long it'll take.
Well, I would assume that. But irrespective, the attorney's telling you exactly the same thing that I have told you here this morning. All we're asking for is a waiver of the 30 days. This board has no say-so in what goes on at the township level. That's our business, that's what we vote on, and that's what we put into law. There's only a 30-day review. If you had such a thing as a planning commission group here, then they could have been presented with this, evaluated it, and you'd just be voting on their evaluation.
Understood.
I don't think the county ever ran into this, as I'm aware of. Maybe Cheryl could tell you more than I can, but generally we accept them and or approve some, but they've always never been controversial like this one.
No, that's why I gave you, Don, the one that also says amendment, or it's under number 6, 2022-06. And that one was the original when it was put forth on May 23rd. And it evolved into this one, which is 2207, and that's what we're asking for, is a waiver.
This is 2022-05.
That's the amendment to have marijuana in Broward Township.
That's not an amendment, that's an ordinance itself.
Well, this is the ordinance.
That ordinance passed quite some time back, and it's been published in the newspaper, and it is law.
I don't think they can make an amendment to that ordinance because the ordinance is illegal to begin
We're not
with.
making an amendment to that ordinance.
We're not their legal advisor by any shape or means. It appears, unless I'm reading this different with the attorney, my interpretation that we can accept it and waive it, not do anything with it. Is that
Yes.
everyone
We
feel
waive
that
it,
way?
we don't have to do anything, and they
Yes.
don't have to wait 30 days.
That's correct, that's all you're
If we
doing.
don't waive it, we have to form a committee and
Right.
That's
be
all
ready,
you're doing.
we look into it and get that all done within 30 days.
I guess the talk we had this morning is mute, because what we had this morning, we were discussing two planning commission minutes from their meeting, which is completely different what he presented us now.
And Doug, that's what you get presented with. I haven't had a decision, or haven't discussed that part of this. What you are presented with is what the planning commission sends to you, and that's what I gave to you.
That
And
we
it says
do.
the following being
I
submitted
know what
from
you
Montgomery
submitted.
County, okay? And then it goes into, that they in fact voted on this, it gives you the votes, and it was passed.
April?
There's only one thing in the letter from the attorney that I have a question on, and I just want to ask for clarification. It states, following the hearing required in section 306, the Township Planning Commission public hearing, a township shall submit for review and recommendation the proposed zoning ordinance. Did that occur?
Yes, it
No,
did.
no.
It's,
The
that
clerk's
doesn't,
saying it did.
that doesn't occur here.
No, I know that, but
No,
I'm
that
just
occurs
asking,
over in the
that's what
township.
it's saying. We can't do anything unless that hadn't occurred, is what the attorney's saying in number 1.
He's saying what?
That unless that a hearing required in section 306, the Township Planning Commission public hearing, the township shall submit for review and recommendation the proposed zoning ordinance, including any zoning maps, to the zoning commission, planning commission of the county in which the township is situated, if a county zoning commission has been appointed as provided under this act. So unless that planning commission public hearing has occurred, then it's not in your hands yet.
It has occurred, both of these. You're looking at 06 and 07. 06 was absolutely done. We had a public hearing on 06, the planning commission looked at it and said, we don't have proper information, so we're not passing this. That was 06. 07 came into being when the planning commission decided to add 2 additional things to it. To the thing itself here. And there are now 5 instead of 3 that were originally presented in 06, 2022-06. 022-07 is the one we have in our hands today.
I got the 05, I don't know where the 07 is.
05 was presented to you by somebody other than myself. That individual has no right or whatever to even present that.
So I got-
That has already been done, Don, it's passed, and.
So we don't need to do anything on the 07.
On 07, we do. On 05, it's already finished, it's
So
voted
you
on.
want, so let me be clear, we're just talking about the 2022-07.
That's correct, nothing else on this document. There's another one in here. They both are in the same context as the 30-day review. But it only goes from the planning commission directly to the county board. From that point, it comes, when you waive it, it comes back to us for discussion and approval or not.
That's not up to me, that's up to the chairman.
That's the way it works. The only way it changes is if you decide not to do anything, you're supposed to wait for 30
In here in the
days
bottom
and
of
then
07, it says this ordinance shall become effective 8 days after being published in a newspaper of general circulation within the township. You
No, that's
said,
exactly right.
so you said you
And that's
didn't
what we're
publish
trying to
it.
get to. We haven't published 07.
We have, it's
We
not,
have done 06. We had done 05. Okay? 07 is what we're here discussing.
Normally,
Once we
we-
pass it, it goes in.
Phil, it hasn't been signed with the board yet.
That's correct. You have to allow it to go there. Not all, nothing else. I don't know why the process is in there.
Never did that.
but it
Every
is.
time we get one, since I've been on this board, it was a signed copy a resolution from the township, if they're everyone's documents, then we just have a set, we talk about it. This
It
ain't
doesn't have to
signed.
be in that
It's an
format.
unsigned document.
You got the document, the attorney's telling you that it's all good, and all you need to do is decide whether you're gonna waive the 30 days. And I presented this again on the 10th of January, so it should start from that clock.
Well, I guess
If you wanna wait 30
it
days.
doesn't, I guess the question to the attorney is, can we accept a zoning ordinance unsigned, not approved by the board? That's my question.
Yes.
Oh, I'm not, we're
I'm
taking
not an
15
attorney, Don, but
we're
I can
taking
tell you.
15 minutes.
Has this meeting
Make the phone
occurred?
call.
Has this meeting occurred?
agree.
Has this meeting occurred for this ordinance?
Which?
Well, since there's
It
no,
did in the planning commission, and that's what this is. This document here they're looking at.
Well, I just said, we're gonna adjourn for 15 minutes, we'll call our attorney and see if we can sign,
Please do.
accept a unsigned document for a zoning. I don't, yeah,
You're not doing the zoning, we are.
or the, whatever this was, the accepted it. I don't know if we can or not without being signed, it's an unsigned document.
Which one?
The one you want us to approve, or what, accept it,
07 and 08 are next.
We haven't voted on 07. We can't sign
Okay,
it. We
we're gonna
can't
call
sign
attorney.
that document.
We're on break for 15 minutes.
as far as he knows, that the meeting for the public hearing occurred, and we can request from the township to show the minutes that those occurred. I just got an email from the Raleigh Township over there that the meeting did publicly occur, so that did happen. And she sent over the signed minutes, so I have those. He said that this is, you guys, is just your capacity as advisory, nothing you're doing here makes any legal action, doesn't approve or disapprove anything that they're doing. He said you can just waive to even hear about it and let them deal with it on the township level. He says because if you don't waive it, then you have to form a committee and have it answered by 30 days.
Okay,
I would move that we waive it.
okay, we got a motion to waive, we got a second to waive.
Who
Any
did
more
the second?
discussion?
Who did the second?
Gary,
Mr. Chairman, before you, I appreciate all this, but there was also a second document in there, at the top of it was October 24th. We
I don't
were
know
asking
what
for that to be waived
I've
as well,
got the
for
one,
the same issue.
We got a motion on
got a motion.
I'm sorry.
Let's
okay,
finish
shoot,
that motion.
the first one here is a motion. We're doing the 07 motion, I believe.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, so this
It's,
is on that sheet again.
Okay, the 07 motion, and that is referenced,
Do you have that one? I do, one. Oh, wait, here, it's the 07-2022, right? What
Yeah.
was that?
I don't know, what was that? What
Okay, I don't
was
have that one.
That was about,
I thought I handed you 27. I
You mean
clicked
eight.
07.
This one's on 8. Yeah, this one might be 22,
He must have had it stacked with the sevens, I'm sorry. There's the stacks with the eights, but I don't have any more sevens, sorry.
05 is, we don't have to worry about 05, that's gone.
So the motion though is to waive waive the 30 days for Riley Township and their ordinance number 2022-07. Mary, you want that back?
Okay, we had a motion, that's your motion?
No, Mary,
Mary?
Mary made a motion, was second.
Okay, we had a second. Okay, all in favor, they understand the motion to waive it, the 07 motion? Hearing none, call for a vote, all in favor say yes?
Yes.
Yes? Nays? Motion carried.
Okay. And the other one, Mr. Chairman, is on October 24th, and this is nothing more than the planning commission.
I'm not gonna approve any planning commission minutes.
Well, I also have the same zoning for that if you want to have it.
Well, if you got a zoning permit, I guess I'm not gonna approve any planning commission minutes.
I certainly do.
The term end date for Teresa, for the MDHS board is 2025.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Mary, you go, Bob, there's no use
Yeah.
sticking around, we'll finish up and
Yeah, this is the other one.
I'm gonna put in there,
That was asked yesterday, she was approved.
She's more the clerk's office.
December 2025,
She's got a
three
form to
years.
fill out.
This is nothing more than an
It'll
in-house.
give me
bank
14
change.
days to file a preliminary injunction against them.
Residential 2, which is a heavy industrial, will allow a gentleman to build some cabins in that area.
Drive carefully.
Bye, Gary. It's the same issue here, looking for the waiver on this, it was originally discussed by the planning commission on the 24th of October. It was presented here on the 10th of January, we're looking for the same waiver on this.
That's fine, you're pretty singing, I guess we can accept it, we'll just waive them.
I move that we waive our oversight of the ordinance 2022-1085 Riley
Thank you.
Township.
Motion? Mike? Second?
Yeah.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing and call for a vote, all in favor say yes.
Yeah.
Nays, motion, who's that back? All right, so we need a copy of it, so I'm gonna give that to Cheryl right here.
Okay, I just wanna make sure.
Yes, 22-08.
Oh,
Yes, ma'am.
Next we're down to board report, I believe.
Thank you.
Yep.